Well, hello once more. Welcome back to Farmland Flats again, as we continue this into the, I think it's now 9th episode of this. Anyway, yeah, I've got to say I'm really enjoying this. Originally I was planning on recording one of these every few days. In practice I've done 2 or 3 a day, which is why they're coming out as frequently as they are. Yeah, that probably won't continue, it's just why I've got a little bit of time. Really enjoying this. The city's growing. We're at the point of a slight frustration. We have... There we go, resume. We have some money. The city is growing a little bit. Fair bit more demand coming in. There's things I want to do. Tingewick is going to gain a Tesco. That's going to be quite expensive to do. I'm going to move that again, because that keeps moving. So yeah, Tingewick needs to gain a Tesco's. There's a little bit of traffic building up down there. Greenford Distribution is going to be a warehousing centre, possibly a little bit of industrial. I need to be careful with the industrial. Industrial means lorries coming in and out of the city, which at the moment would be coming along this road and then down this road onto the highway. It's not that busy, it could cope as long as there's not too many there. Eventually there's going to be another link over to the highway road over here. As I've said a few times, that's all going to change. That's going to just become a normal road, like a dual carriageway. Kingsway Retail is... since last time it's going to Pizza Hut. I had a little bit of commercial demand, so I thought, sod it, I'll put a Pizza Hut in. Which is getting people using it, so yeah. It's providing a little bit of work, it's got a decent car park. This is going to get other retail outlets. These are going to be some of the ploppable Rico stuff, and again, that's expensive. So, yeah, I need to build up money. Now, the money spinners potentially for here is an open cast mining area around here, because if I go into resources, there's plenty of that. We can't hit the oil at the moment, and I don't really like the oil industry. I don't think oil really suits a British theme. Not onshore oil anyway, so I might have to have a think about that one. Or a farm down here. Now, the problem is both of them are potentially quite profitable. The farm is probably the most appropriate. Both are going to be quite expensive to do. I could put farming up here as well, but I don't want to. Up here is going to be some sort of factory area. Yeah. But I can't really afford either of them at the moment, and I've got increasing housing demand. So, short term, what we're going to do is we're going to do something not entirely prototypical of the area this is based on. We're going to stick in more housing over here. And what we're going to put over here is going to be more of this sort of higher density housing, which I'm going to have to drop in by hand. So, yeah. This is really about just getting the population up to the next level. I won't be using large amounts of higher density housing here. There's going to be some, but there won't be much. So first off, I need to work out how we're going to do this into here. So I'm just going to have a little play at putting a bit of framing in, and then we will be back and we will put some houses in. Yeah, and while gameplay me busily beavers away in the background, just a quick one. Noticed we are starting to get a few views on this. Subscriptions, etc., if possible, would be really, really appreciated. As would the odd uptick if you're enjoying this. Obviously, if you're not, don't. You can feel free to downtick if you're not enjoying it. Upticks just help YouTube recommend it to other people. So we'll see how we go with it. Although I am doing this because I'm enjoying it, not because I'm hoping to make money out of it. Yeah, anyway, meanwhile, on with the nonsense. Right, okay, back. So what we now have is Southcote, a new little area. Obviously we're going to start building over here. Now, we've had before, we've seen things don't spawn up necessarily the way I'd like them to. Actually not there, I want to keep that bit open. But now some are doing, so I want to see whether these spawn in the ones I actually want, or if I only get the slightly larger ones here. This is about having cheap housing. Frankly, if the smaller blocks grow in, if they look like what I want them to be, I'll be happy. And straight away they're not going to. Problem is the land here isn't completely flat, so these larger blocks basically don't work. So I am going to zap all of this, and I'm going to put in what I want manually. It's slightly frustrating. As I said before, the little 2x1 blocks don't seem to want to grow in terribly easily. So I'm going to have to resort to the old standbys of putting some of these in. Now there are some commercial bits which I'm going to put in here as well. But to start with, it's going to be our good old friends here, the little terrace houses. So again, I will be back in a minute. Okay, so there's the basic housing area in, and immediately it's all despawning, which it shouldn't be. So what I need to do is just check that style. P terraced, okay. Has got that house in it, which it should have. Level 1, size 1. Let's have a little look. Brick. There we are, for some reason. Yes. UK brick terrace, UK stone terrace. Yeah, they're slightly more modern style ones. Don't really want those. Yeah, okay. So that was probably my own fault. Let's go back and put those back in. And now hopefully this time things won't immediately start to despawn. We shall find out. Not that. There, and so I'll put a little bit of commercial space in up here. It's nothing special, just a little bit, and they're despawning because they're not part of the zone. Never mind, something will probably crop back in. Probably a pub, right. Over here's going to need some support services at some point. Education, for example, being horrible. There is a school nearby, so I'm not spending money on this at the moment. This is supposed to be just housing. I may put a park in here, but that's purely to try and assist with getting people in. So yeah, let's stick a playground in there. That'll help people be a little bit happier. I still need more housing, so I'm going to drop a load more housing in, and then I shall be back again, and we'll see what else we can do. Okay, now we've done that, as you can see, we are picking up some other problems. We have a general electricity shortage problem, again. Slightly more seriously, a water shortage problem. We can probably cope with that for the minute. Power is going to be more of an issue, however. So what I'm going to do what are suitable sites for wind turbines? Around here isn't suitable because it's a town centre, or will be a town centre. Over there I can't, so it's going to be over here again. And I've got just enough to drop 2 of these in, which we shall do. This is obviously impinging slightly on where I was thinking of putting an open cast area. Push comes to shove, that won't happen. if there isn't space at the end of the day, it just won't happen. And let's come. Just do that like so. A few more wind turbines, and we'll see how that does for power. Still a little bit marginal, but yeah, we can cope briefly. That will need a sizable investment at some point, which is part of the problem. I'm trying to build up enough income that I can make sizable investments. Do need more water infrastructure with regard to these. I'm going to put the other one of these in. It's going to use a good chunk of the money I have available, but it needs doing. And as you can see, space was left here specifically to put that in. So that I can cope with. I don't mind that being there. That has used up virtually all of the money, however. And we do need another water supply. Have we got loans available? We do. So let's grab that. And what I need is somewhere... We've only got 1 water tower. I need somewhere to put another one in. No, 3. Sorry, 2. There's one at Royston Cross already. That's a new estate, so that wouldn't have them. Tingewick. Now this is actually quite appropriate, because if you go to the little area this is based on, which is Wolverton, there is a water tower. And it's like, not quite there, but it's smack on the end of one of the streets. It's a weird one. It looks like an old railway water tower. I suspect, because with Wolverton being a railway town, very much a railway town, it was the main works for the London North Western. I suspect what happened was they needed a water tower, so they just copied the design of the railway. So you ended up with something that looked a lot like that. So now we have the ability to put in more power. I am tempted with another coal power station. And the problem with these is these power stations are actually really, really small. Sort of a coal power station, you'd be talking like this sort of area, or possibly that as your coal power station as a minimum. It's the sort of thing. I mean, it's what they did with the industry DLCs. You could do that with a power station, very, very simply. Right, I'm now going to build a huge power station, generating halls, cooling towers, all that sort of thing. I don't believe anybody's done anything like that with a mod, or at least I've never seen anything like that. So yeah. So as you can see, electricity as the day passes by, we are slowly sorting ourselves out. Traffic-wise, down here is still very busy. It is tempting to put another link in from here, but I mean, when you look, there isn't a huge amount of traffic using this road up here, so this is all really going into Motherwell Park. That is going to be a big project when I come to redo that arterial route. I'm not doing anything with it until then. But we do need another power station somewhere. It's going to cause pollution. This laughable amount of traffic here is just people moving in. As you see, they're all coming round here as they move into the houses we've just built up in Southcote over here. We do need more industrial. I'll say there is going to be some there. I'm going to be careful about what can build in that area. I think I'm going to drop a lot of it in manually, just to see what we can get away with. I know the sort of buildings I want. So yeah, here we have heavy traffic, somewhat predictably queuing up behind buses, even though they... Well, I say they can go around. They can't really go around because it puts them in the turning lanes. And the alternative is just stick with windmills. They're not always the most reliable. There's the advanced ones which cost quite a lot more, and I don't really have space for them. We could stick them in the rivers, but that's not really what we want. I'm gonna drop another one of these in. Yeah, and hope that dropping this in, yeah, it's sort of dealt with the power issue on a temporary basis anyway. How much power we got? Yeah, so still a little bit borderline. Might need another one. Kings Meadows wind farm is about as big as it can get. Onga's is, again, if I just select this up, that's about as big as it can get. I could grow this one a little bit more. Yeah, while I'm here, sod it. Yes, I'm spending a lot of money that I didn't really want to spend. But there we go. And put the pathways in again. Just using paths. They don't really need anything else. They have no need for road access, so they're not getting it. As you can see, as the evening progresses, things are quietening down here, over here, and up here is dying off as well as people are now moving in. This is something to be aware of if you're building large areas, doing what I've just done, which is just manually going in and plonking lots of people. You will get a huge spike in traffic as they all move in. Now, when I did this road, I put this road up here. This will eventually link in over here, and then this area here can gain more people, as can over here. This bit I'm probably going to leave. The actual area of Barnsley this is based on, all around here is open ground. School fields and stuff. I keep going back here a little bit more. So, yeah. Right. This commercial demand. What are we going to do with this? I am going to drop stuff in manually. So what I want is that. And what I then want is the UK themed ones. This is the sort of stuff I'm after. Just little industrial unit type buildings. Of which there's plenty. Obviously I've got the area further down where I've grown some of these in. So what I might do is I think it's time for another one of these. So let's go. Make a new one. UK. That's right. A leopard plays UK. Trading estate. That'll do. So make sure you come down here and select that. As I found before, if you don't select that, it doesn't work. That one. Generic industry. All level. All. Yeah, not terraced, obviously. UK. Let's have a little look. What I'm after is the slightly more modern looking type ones. Although most of these would do. These sort of slightly smaller ones. In fact, to be honest... Oh, back in a moment. And back. Yes, Amazon delivery. Yeah. That'll do. So, Greenford distribution is now going to be Leopard Place Trading Estate. So what I should now be able to do is drop a few of these in. Not there. And we'll see what we get. Because there, I want to put in some parking there. Oh, that seems to have changed the zoning, so I'll do that. I'll take that bit out for the corner. That's immediately moaning about no power, which is fair enough, I suppose. Other things are going to moan about power as well, so I'm going to do that straight away. But I don't need to do that, because it's grabbed some of this. Now, like I say, what I want over here, don't have the money to do this as yet, but this is what is going to be going in here, is what a couple of these. Put one or two of these distribution centres in. And these are just going to hold standard residential stuff. So, yeah. But that tells me I do have a little bit of space for another road. Turn this stuff back on. And I'm going to run it all the way through. I don't particularly feel the need to make that into one way. Right. And hopefully that'll do for industry in this area here. I need a little bit. I don't want too much. So that'll sort that out. Here's going to be the main fire station. I've just put a little reminder in to, remind me. Yeah, it's a reminder. Oh, so one other thing I've got it working. The tail lights mod. If you look down here, you can see little red lights on some of these vehicles. Not all of them. The mod only does it on the stock vehicles. It doesn't do it on any of the DLC ones. But you see little glowing red lights on the back. It's not a huge effect, but it looks quite good. If you look at a queue of traffic from the back, you come down here, you can see all the glowing red lights. I really like that. It's a really, really good mod. It's quite a new one. Yeah, tail lights. It's just what there's a mod and a prop you have to install, and then that's it. And then, oh my god. Right, okay. Yeah, traffic's busy. A lot of the busyness here is caused because this is a giveaway. So basically, until there's a gap, and it's only a single lane, so all it takes is a couple wanting to turn right, and the whole thing slows up and snarls up. Yeah, it's a British road system. That happens. That's backing up a little bit up here. This one I gave up in the last one, as you may have seen. I put lights on here and turning lanes. So if we drop out of that, again you've got the wonderful little red glow, the fencing. Yeah, that works. Let's come back over here. So let's see what we're slowly getting. See, night time, so construction has stopped. So we're not going to see anything there now until the day. We're back to electricity problems again. This is basically, I dare say, because if I click these, yeah, the wind speed has dropped. And because the wind speed has dropped, obviously the wind output has dropped. Bit of a problem. Naturally, this is an issue with using wind power. Yeah. Don't have the money to do anything else. It's in the yellow, it's nearing the red, hence we've got all sorts of problems up here. So, all I can really do at this point... well, have I... There is a cheaty little thing. I'm not particularly keen on using them, but I do have them in my arsenal, which is this thing. And this thing puts a little substation in somewhere, and I'm going to put it... Now, see which way I've got it facing first. I want to put it... It needs somewhere fairly flat, ideally. I'm going to put that there. That generates power. It only generates a little bit. 5 megawatt. It's not much. But it helps. So that's one of those, and they are fairly cheap. So I've put one of those there. I'm just going to drop a few of them about, and then I'm going to come in and I will detail them up later. Where can we put another one? Back here somewhere. Probably works quite nicely. Put one there. These are just becoming a little bit of a backup way of generating power. What this is, it's a little substation. The little power relay doesn't generate anything. The idea behind this is you're saying, right, we have power coming in from outside. Somewhere else is producing the electrical power for us, and this thing is just a little substation. Actually, that works quite nicely. That one in there. This is about getting us past the little crisis we've got here in terms of power. So I'll drop a few of these down. You find that you get them in all sorts of weird little locations in the UK. They tend to be on not particularly busy areas. So I'm going to have to come back, clear a few trees, and these all need little bits of supply around. So that's better. I could probably do with another one or two. Trading estates. See, this is actually another good place to put them. Is stick one on a trading estate somewhere. That one doesn't actually have space. Let's come over here, Motherwell Park. This should have some space. And it has, it's got this bit here. So what I'm going to do is put that there, which hopefully will put the power generation back in the green. Not quite, but nearly. Right. Okay. So what we now need to do, you don't see these things on their own. So, oil industry fence, check everything is switched off. Now what we're going to do is like that, is just make a little yard for it to sit in. If I want props, I want pavement, I want this stuff. Let's get the bigger one. Like so. But actually, do it the easy way. What I actually do is use the pavement mod like this to give me the general area. So I want all that paved. And then I've got this mod here. To bring along and fix up the quirkiness around the edges. So that's that. And to make this one look good, I can go around and always play around and do the others at some point. Couple of cable drums. Let's put one of those outside. And a little porter cabin in there. Van. Ooh. Ooh, I didn't see I had an ice cream van. Ooh. Ooh, I am so dropping that down. Sorry, I quite like ice cream vans. And I'm just going to park a little digger in there as well. Maintenance. Here we are. Put a maintenance van in there as well. Oh, yeah, just a little electrical substation. I'd like to have some gates from somewhere. I so didn't realise I had an ice cream van. Okay, I'm hungry now. Yeah, I'll have to... yes, anyway. Deal with that at some point. So, yes, what was I doing? I I started out with more money than this, and the intention was to raise money. Yeah, anyway, so that's all going to be higher density retail. I don't have any commercial demand at the moment anyway, so there's not a lot of point fretting about that. I am going to put some more houses in. How flat is this area? Yeah, see, not very. If this was flatter, I could come in and let houses grow manually. But since it's not, I'm pretty much going to have to do this myself. UK terrace, some of that, not those, some of that. And go for the brick one again. And I'll say eventually all this area will want school access, medical centres and all this sort of, all this good stuff. And one thing very notable, when you look at city skylines, the scale is completely wrong. Simple example, most houses are deeper than the roadway. If I look at the property I've got here, even the smaller ones next to them, they are wider than the road that is out the front. There are some small ones, but yeah, rows of houses aren't particularly big. Schools are usually a lot bigger. Shops, yeah, it can vary. Medical centres tend to be bigger with parking and so on and so forth. And football pitches. I've got a football pitch out the back here. It is significantly larger than these football pitches. It's a game limitation, I get it. I don't really have a problem with that. But essentially, I've got a little medical centre down here. That would do a much larger area than it will do in the game. So, yeah. Anyway. Right. I'm going to need, in here... ordinary road. Put all of that back on. Pure reason for doing this is so I can use the corners here for a bit more industrial area. It's the only reason I'm doing that. And that can zone in as and when. Okay, so what I now need to do is run the city a while. So I'm going to run the city for a bit, and I will come back when things have got a bit lighter. I've refilled my glass. Things have run for a little bit longer, and hopefully we've got a little bit more money. So I will see you in a few minutes. Here we are. The game's been running a while. We're back just after Saturday afternoon here in the game. I've just gone in. I've detailed up a couple of these little substations I put in. I think it looks all right. Could do with the gate. It's a pity these fences don't come with gates, but never mind. So that's just a little electrical substation. Yeah, nobody needs to get into it, so it doesn't really matter too much. Excuse me. What we're now going to do is something that serves remarkably little purpose, but I'm doing it anyway. I'm going to put in a big Tesco's. The green one. I'm going to put it there. Very, very expensively. That is going to suck up a huge amount of jobs. It's basically a high density commercial. So that's going there. If I've got the money, yes, no. Service, no. Fuel, no. I do somewhere have a filling station of some sort. BP? No. Might just be under here. Fuel. Park? Tree? Don't know. No, never mind. I'll have to keep finding that one. I do have a petrol station thing installed somewhere. Just not quite sure where. What we're going to do is put a couple of car parks in here for Tesco's. Like so. Just going to make these roads a bit longer because I can, and then again I'm going to do that along there, like so. And yeah, that's just a big shop, closed for some reason because it's a Saturday, presumably. Yeah, lots of jobs available, but there we go. What I want is a fuel station there, so I do have the thing. It's like, as with all these things, it's finding them. Growable. It might not be a growable all. Fuel gas. Ah, here we are. Gas pumps. BP gas station. There. Not enough money. Oh yeah, that'd be why. Well, at least I found it now anyway. Yeah. So that's... Tingewick has gained its Tesco's. It's not going to do a great deal, but there we are. What we are going to do, because I can... is... just add a path there. Now the beauty of this is I can actually get the lorries to deliver to the rear. So I'm going to do that. So road, I want one new because I need the little roads. We're going to come off there. What I'm going to do is turn all of that back on. I'm going to turn all of that back off because I don't want it to... Going to do that. What I can then do is pave that area a little bit. We have a wonderful mod installed on here, which is this one. Now this tells me where people are going to go to service this building. And what I want to do is add add a point, which is going to be there. I'm going to drag that to back here, and I'm then going to turn it round, which will point that way. And what I'm going to do is say cargo truck will go there, as will garbage truck, and I'm going to turn them off from the top ones. There we go. And now, whenever this shop gets a delivery, they'll come around the back. And because of what I want to do with this, I'm going to tell this to say everything else can't come down here. It just stops cars and that from wandering around quite so much. So what we then do is that back to the good old pavement area here. That way. And just extend that a little bit. Like so. Not that end one. Drawback of this is these will draw over whatever you put under it, so we'll get rid of that. That'll do. That looks alright, and we can then do a little bit of this with large bush. That'll do. Line. Drop the spacing down a bit. There we are, like that. Now the actual Tesco's in Wolverton, as I say, is what this is based on, actually has more shops in this little area here. Spawning off there, which is going to be a little bit more awkward to do here. But I'm going to put some in there, not going to put much. It was the original fire station was around here. It's a bookshop now. Small if you you ever visit, there's an LNWR fire station which has been turned into a bookshop. So, yeah. So anyway, that is still closed. Now there would be a way to absolutely cheese this, and that is you make this into a pedestrianised zone, which really does cheese everything. However, I'm not going to do that because that is just cheese. What I do want, however, is a bit more fencing. But the airport fence is quite nice as well. What's that one? Decorated sound barriers. Yeah, I've got lots of fencing and stuff in here. Walls. I'm going to go with a brick wall. I'm going to put it along there like that. Just so as people are wandering in, they stick to the path rather than wandering around the back where they're not supposed to go. There we are. You see? Quite expensive. That will suck up the commercial demand for quite some time. Meanwhile, our electrical supply is now vastly overspecified now that the wind has decided to pick up again. I was going to get rid of these power lines. I'm actually going to leave them in because going into the little substation bit, it actually looks quite good. In fact, over here, I'm going to adjust the power. Did I leave enough space in there? I did. I've just got to get... Just need to get out of the electrical view. Again, what I need to do is get rid of that tree. Like that. I'm wondering about putting that pylon over here somewhere. This area here is all going to get filled out eventually, so I'll leave it. Yeah. And the distribution centre has grown in quite nicely. We've got various little buildings here, low-tech products, whatever that is, making for us. Over there we've got all that stuff now. We do have a little food court area, sort of area there. I'm actually going to put something else in down here. What I again want is a plaza, but I want one of these. I'm trying to work out which one it is. I don't want the decals. There are... Shopping malls, is it this one? Oh, striping parking decals. Interesting. High tech, I think it might be the Korea one. That one. That's what I'm after. Is that. Now, I see it's not much. But if you remember, I found in here an ice cream van, which I am going to put there. Now, I'd quite like a burger van, but since I haven't got a burger van, I'm going to put a little food outlet there, and then we're going to go into here, and I want a bench. And what we're going to do is take a couple of these. Set a few of those around there, and then bin. Let's have... Go with a round bin because I never really work out which way round these things are on here. Have a couple of bins. There we go. That's just somewhere for people to go and get their lunch. I put the little carport things in because I thought they looked quite nice as well. So we have a couple of lorries. Oh look, Iceland. It's off to... no, just disappeared. There's another one going in there. Yeah, a little B&Q van coming around the back. Like I said, what seems to happen is the HGVs come from industry to industry, or off-map to industry. Industry to commercial is vans, and they form the bulk of your traffic problems, if that makes sense. So, The cars just get in the way. There's not really a lot you can do about cars except add public transport. It's like round here doesn't have any public transport at the moment. I mean, this road here is an absolute prime for it. Eventually they'll say this will be a loop, and there will be a bus station and there'll be other bits and pieces. The city's nowhere near big enough yet, so we need to get to about another 900 or so population, and when we get that, we can unlock another area. And that gets interesting because there's two choices. Well, there's more than two, obviously. This area here, which means I can sort this road network out, but it doesn't really give me a great deal until I start building more over here. I can put this link in, it'll sort some of the traffic issues. I think I'm going to end up with this one. This is so I can head more towards where the town centre will be, which will allow... No, we can't really see it on this map. I'll drop into free camera. Will this let me... Yeah, I was hoping that... there we go. There we go. Yes, we're going to head off out over here where the town centre is going to be, with another highway connection coming in. The hill's going to stay. I respect the hill. Oh, that's moved again. There we go. Yes, anyway. So yes, that's going to be the next episode of this, I feel. So what I'm going to do is let's just have a little bit of another one of these little automated flyovers just to end with and see how it goes. This is some of our newer areas here. Just looking alright. See, this is one of the original areas we built in. Nice open spaces around it. Railway line in the background. This is this new area we added in today, which, I'm actually quite pleased with how that looks. I mean, that's not really based on anywhere, but there we go. There's our little five-a-side pitches. They're getting some use. Dropped a few tennis courts in just to make that an area. I need to find some little admin-type office buildings for around there. Here's just some more of... I think that's Worsley. Yeah, with the school. Here's the original area we started. We can come in and come down, follow some of these little roads. It's all working. Here's Ongar down in the bottom corner, just where people live. It doesn't really do a great deal else. I need to do something else down there. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. As usual, comments. I notice that these videos are now catching a few people watching them. Comments, likes, subscriptions, ideas. Why don't use, as long as they're funny. Yeah. Any of that, all welcome. Until then, I will catch you all in the next one. Thank you very much, and goodbye.